Let's go. Where have I been the last couple days since we last spoke in a live setting or in a pre-recorded setting on here? I told myself that I was not going to go live again until I got this dang camera situation figured out. I'm pointing at it right now. Hopefully, we finally have a breakthrough. So far, so good. Make sure you guys can hear me, though. Of course, we'll do a mic check, but with lots to talk about today. Some things to catch up on. Loaded news cycle with OTAs beginning. George Pickens stuff to still sift through. I haven't really spent a ton of time on here talking about that. Like I said, it's kind of been focused on some short form things while we get this camera situation solved. But I think we finally turned a corner. So I don't want to waste any time today. RKGs versus Schotty psychology. Old school versus new school. We've heard this story before, right? Well, how is it different? How does Schottenheimer's emphasis on culture and brotherhood, how is that different from when Jason Garrett used to preach the right kind of guys? It's a nuanced question, as I alluded to. It's a fair question as well. I don't want to get lost, or I don't want that to be lost in any shape or form. But I think if you paid close enough attention yesterday to the interviews, if you listened to what Dak Prescott said, you may have just heard your answer. Let's get right into it. Because honestly, y'all, this interview was telling to me. You guys be the judge. Y'all let me know. Okay, this is an open conversation here. I'm gonna let you guys drive the ship just as much as I am. A little bit more so. I guess we'll just say a little bit more so than usual. Here we go. Take a listen. You guys tell me what you think.
And having captains.
And fantastic question from Clarence Hill, by the way.
Jason Garrett talked about the right kind of guy and having captains. So this talk of chemistry and culture has been around here. You guys have said you've had good culture and you've had good brotherhood. Why would it be different this year? Why you said that's going to help us win? Why would it be different this year than in past years?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, the approach of how we're building it. I think a lot of times, may in the past, I've said it, and I've maybe just been talking, and not just talking, or naive in a sense of talking about how great just the offenses was, right? And not necessarily the team, and not necessarily offense connecting with defense, connecting with special teams. So I believe that Schotty's doing it the right way from the top down of take the offense and defense away from it, take the positions away from it, take the coach and player aspect away from it, and let's connect. And you're talking to one of the most optimistic people I think you'll find. I've seen it the way that it's going. I see the way that people are buying into it, and it's hard for me to think anything different.
To me, that's pretty profound, y'all. I don't know what Dak Prescott is always going to sound optimistic. He's an optimist in nature. He's a fantastic leader. He's going to always say the right things, but I took it a step further and I went back and listened to his OTAs interview from a season ago. So before the 2024 campaign. And granted, at the time, he still hadn't had his contract extension yet. CeeDee Lamb wasn't involved with OTAs, wasn't participating in any of the voluntary work because of his contract situation still not resolved. So you can certainly add a caveat or play devil's advocate with that situation and say, listen, different circumstances. Okay, Dak's money not settled. CeeDee's money not settled. That's fair. But my question to you is, are you sensing the same level of energy? Or did you sense the same level of energy then as you are now? The excitement, the playfulness, the friendly, the playful banter. Go back and watch the interview. It's 9 minutes, guys. Everybody's got 9 minutes today to spare. Listen to Dak a couple different occasions, just chirping at the reporters who are asking him questions. I think he had a little respectful jab with Clarence Hill. Maybe one other question that he's just off the cuff, just laughing, having a good time, right? Like the energy feels different. And Dak alluded to that. That's the youthful energy that Brian Schottenheimer is bringing to the table. But so he just told you right there. Jason Garrett, it was much more, it was right kind of guys, but it wasn't so much of a focus on everybody getting involved with everybody. It was, okay, offense over here, defense over here, teams over here. O-linemen once a week get together for dinner. Somebody's hosting, building that chemistry and camaraderie. But can't the O-lineman build a stronger and a better bond, better brotherhood with the running backs, the receivers, the quarterback, or better yet, the other two phases of football? Can't the linebackers go to dinner with the corners? Can't the safeties, be involved in weeknight away from the facility activities with special teams aces? Can't the kicking unit have some fun with the rest of the squad too? And on top of that, I don't recall. And once again, all this stuff, I want to be clear, none of this means anything until we see it manifest on Sundays, right? Obviously, that's the elephant in the room here. Okay, cool, prove it, right? But I think what we're getting at, the underlying sentiment here is that they are operating differently than they have in the past. And we're going to continue unpacking why that is. I don't recall Jason Garrett ever, and correct me if I'm wrong, 2 months ago, like we wrote on cowboyscountry.com, and thank you, by the way, to cowboyscountry.com and Mike Fisher for believing in what we do here and taking me under your wing. I don't remember Jason Garrett saying and revealing how he spends half of his day in the offseason. Not talking about football, not watching film, not in meeting rooms with the other coaches, not scouting, having discussions with the scouting department, Will McClay and such. Yes, you want them to be doing all those things. And yes, Brian Schottenheimer was doing those things, but that's not what he talked about. He wasn't sitting here breaking down X's and O's with us 2.5 months ago. He said, how I spend half my day in the offseason is getting in touch, because guys are away from the facilities. They're not around the coaches' offices. They're not in the weight room. They're not on the field. They're not allowed to be. It's, hey, Dak, how's your family, brother? Hey, CD, everything going good with your mom, with your dad, uncle? How's the body feeling? Hey, Osa. Siri, trying to get in on the conversation there. Osa, having a pleasant surprise. Just bottle of champagne, celebratory. Show up to his table the night that he signed his contract extension when he was out celebrating with his family. Who was the first person to call Osa Odigizua that day? And this is Osa's account, his words, not mine. We can find the interview here if we want. It's on Twitter. And thank you, WWE guy, Darnell Lamar, Ryan Perales, and Taylor Mobley all in the house. A couple good comments here coming in. You guys feel it too. It's not just me, right? I'm asking questions. I'm trying to remain objective, trying to balance old school versus new school, JG versus Brian Schottenheimer. Schotty was on the phone, the first person to get into touch with Osa and say, hey, man, could not be more proud, could not be more excited, could not be more happy to have you here for 4 more years. Congratulations and well-deserved. Step further, bottle of champagne to your dinner table. got word of where he was celebrating at, hey, this is on me. Just want you to know how much I value you, how much I appreciate you, how much I want to build our bond, right? You're a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle, nonetheless. A position that our franchise, our organization has just completely ignored for way too long. I'm an offensive guy. I'm the head coach. I don't have to get to know you to do my job. I can delegate responsibility elsewhere and say, you know what, grand scheme, also don't matter. But that's not how he operates from day one. What did he say? He didn't say football is an X's and O's business. He didn't say football is a physicality business. He didn't even say football is a culture business. That would have been an accurate statement, probably, if you really understand what culture means. But he said it's a relationship business. What is culture? Right? It's a popular buzzword. I honestly, I even talked about this yet, or I recited it in my head yesterday. I want to, because we have grown so numb to the word culture, right? It falls on deaf ears now because it's such a popular terminology. Everyone says it. Every coach knows it's important. Not every coach understands how to build it, how to cultivate it. So I'm going to do the best that I can to remember from this point on to not use the word culture. Maybe I'll say it, but then in parentheses also have like a little subtext. Cultivating chemistry and brotherhood. Relationships on a personal level. Not just, oh, hey, let's have some fun while we're at the field working hard. No. Who are you? George Pickens. What's your background like? Where'd you grow up? What molded you? What sculpted you? Talk to me about your childhood, where you grew up. Maybe that'll explain a little bit of why you're misunderstood, why you sometimes lash out, why you sometimes lose your temper on the field, drawing a personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. But also, oh, hey, let me vouch for you. I did my homework. I understand that you, George Pickens, value what this organization has neglected for far too long, which is, I really love football. And not just the things that sort of that coincide with it. The money, the fame, the 53 brands, hashtag 53 brands. Mike Fisher terminology. Sometimes the Dallas Cowboys feel like a marketing team that just so happens to play football on the side. Not no more. Tyler Booker. Rave reviews. Dak Prescott even going so far as to say is, dude gets it, man. Like, that's obviously paraphrasing, but talking about just how prepared he is. How smart. How hard he works, how much he loves football. CeeDee Lamb, what'd he say? I'm just glad we're not on Twitter talking or on the internet talking. Let's get the work done and let's move on. George Pickens sprinting down the field yesterday, the report from John Machota. Kevontae Turpin catches a ball, makes a man miss, sprinting down the field for a touchdown. Who's right there next to him? And day 2 of OTAs, mind you. Reminiscent of one Jerry Rice, not comping George Pickens to Jerry Rice by any means, but understanding Jerry Rice's greatness. Every catch, practice, regular season, off season, you name it. Sprint to the finish line. George Pickens right there. just laughing, having a great time, high-fiving, pointing at Kevontae Turpin as he's sprinting down the field. Step for step. Boom, George Pickens. Who joins the party? Oh, here comes 88 across the field, joining the celebration. Then who's right behind him? There goes 4. What's up, boys? Feels good, man. Feels good to have a secondary threat to throw to yet again. There's the youthful energy cannot be denied. Up until this point, everybody's having fun right now. Everybody's, the newness hasn't worn off yet. We're still in the honeymoon phase, if you will. Everybody's in the best shape of their life. Everybody feels good. Everybody's, every team, every fan base loves what their organization has done so far this offseason. Most of them, not all of them, most of them. Is every coach having free throw competitions in their office with their players? Is every coach doing, current event related competition challenges with their team based on what's happening? Finding ways to make it fun. Because football in the dog days of summer, right, and training camp, luckily they're in California, so the weather's much nicer, but it's not as fun. It's not glamorous when 5 days in a row, you're repping the same drill. You're lining up against the same opponent opposite from you. Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele are going to get real tired of blocking Micah Parsons and Donovan Ezeraku. But you got to do it. It's part of the work. So how do you make the work fun? How do you – Schotty's words. Once again, Schotty psychology. I want guys to want to be here. It's part of the ping pong table in the locker room. Creating competition, but making it fun. Building bonds, creating that brotherhood through competition. Dallas Stars, conference finals. Schotty mentions, what are we going to do? We're going to have some sort of hockey challenge competition. Slap shots. Soft puck, of course. Tapping into the current events, making it fun. Go out and celebrate, enjoy a night out with your boys at the Stars game. Go watch them play. The Masters were on a couple weeks ago. They did a Masters-related challenge. NBA Finals here in a couple weeks. I'm sure they'll do the same thing again. How half my day is spent. Angie's in the house. What's up, Angie? Just talking through some things. What are some things that I need to touch on? So that's almost 20 minutes right there on just sort of the difference, the things that we're noticing, right? It's a mountain of evidence already suggesting the measures that this staff is taking. Oh, here's another point. Schotty's interview yesterday. I don't recall. You can say Jason Garrett. Yeah, he used to say the RKGs all the time. How's this different? Fair question. But tea leaves, meta-analysis, breadcrumbs, sports below the surface. Support the channel by either liking or subscribing if you aren't already. Sports below the surface for the true fan. The truth for the true fan. And by the way, I'm Lando from the Lando Show.
All right.
And once again, this is Sports Below the Surface.
I am inevitable.
Oh, we'll talk about Spanfort here in just a second. Good call, WWE guy. There's Angie too, by the way. Appreciate you, Angie. Good to see you again. I know it's been a couple weeks. I don't know if you caught the beginning. Working on a couple things here. I made a promise to myself I would stop putting it off and make sure I got the necessary parts to try to improve this live setting a little bit so the camera doesn't cut out and overheat and all that stuff. So I think we're good. So far, so good. 20 minutes in. But I don't recall Jason Garrett. You guys tell me. Hold me accountable here. I'm 30 years old. I wasn't in the weeds 8 years ago, 5 years ago, before Mike McCarthy got here, like I am now. I'm new to this to some extent. Still playing baseball, sitting on a bus for 14 hours every other day, making $1,200 a month. Too tired, too focused on trying to figure out how to make it out of the minors to pay this close attention here. My previous profession, but now here we are. Okay, you tell me, was Jason Garrett holding every single one of his assistant coaches accountable as far as cultivating that chemistry, taking guys out to lunch, hosting team-related events outside of team walls, making them get on the phone and build those relationships? Schotty's telling you that's what he's doing. It's not just him. It's a collective effort. What's up, Icy? And thank you for that. I haven't spoken on the running back room yet, but I absolutely will. That's one of those positions where, so let's go ahead and knock that out real quick, Angie. Javonte Williams, by all accounts, led all the first team reps yesterday. That's totally fair. I wrote about a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was last week. He's the most well-compensated veteran. Doesn't mean that he's going to be the guy in September for week 1, but it just means that he's going to get the first shot. And I think a shot for a guy who is a second-round talent, a dude that I've got receipts. I was just going through my comments from 4 years ago whenever he was coming out of North Carolina. I was like, man, I can't stop watching this dude, Javonte Williams. Obviously pre-injury. And it wasn't just an ACL, BCL, and LCL as well. Dude returned to the field 9 months later. High character guy. Loves football. Talk to anyone who's ever known and ever been around Javonte Williams. You get the same answer. And yes, I've done the research, the background. He's a guy that's not necessarily a make you miss dude, but he's a guy that takes pride in all of the other things that are quarterback friendly, quarterback favorite attributes. Pass protection, understands the assignment, brings an element of physicality. He's more of a downhill runner. Give him a little bit of a head start and duo, comboing people, which is what this team is going to do, controlling A gap. You put 3 forklifting people movers alongside each other and in the middle. Yeah, you're going to run some power run game stuff. You're going to have some combo and climb. You're going to have some duo. You're going to have some trap. You're going to have some pin pull. But as I've always said, if you solve the how in the run game, meaning your approach to running the football, are you coaching? Are you scheming things up based on your personnel? Like Clayton Adams has already said he will. Thank God. Give me a freaking hand clap for Clayton Adams one time. Yeah. Or just give me a little John. Yeah, one of the two. Either way works for me. Thank you, Clayton Adams, for saying the right things. Let's see if you'll do it. I think he will. But the how is understanding what your personnel does well and coaching to it. Can your run game look like your pass game? Can you actually threaten teams out of a drop 7 vision-based umbrella shell? Can you force them to crowd the box a little bit? What did I just say last week was Mike McCarthy's number one shortcoming, biggest downfall, why he's no longer a coach of the Dallas Cowboys and why he is currently unemployed in the National Football League? Outdated run philosophy. He could not run successfully even amidst a light box. Couldn't challenge defenses. for him, and he talked about this. Is Mike McCarthy's words, not Lando. Completions plus rushing attempts equals W's. No, it does not. No, it does not. Maybe back in 2008, maybe 2012. But not in 2024. 2023, 2022. Your three most recent and most significant losses, all in the playoffs, Packers, Niners. You lost because you lost the battle in the trenches. You could not run San Fran or Green Bay out of a drop 7 shell. They could stop your run with a light box. So, to Angie's question, we don't know anything yet about the running back position as far as the talent or the individuals in the running back room. We're not going to know for a while. But what I can tell you right now is that the running game is much more about the how as it relates to scheme and the personnel up front than the who is in the backfield. 3.2 yards per carry. In each of the last 3 playoff losses. Yes, Dak's got to be better. Yes, he'll be the first one to admit it, but no. No quarterback is going to look the part dealing with that. A one-dimensional approach. Kevontae Turpin being weaponized in the running back room. Let me just, Angie, thank you for this question because you just got you. I was in flow state there for a second, so I appreciate you. The who matters. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it does. But the how matters more, Ratio. The how matters more. I'll stand on that. I'll take it to the grave. It's why James Conner looks different in Arizona than he did in Pittsburgh. It's why Derrick Henry looks different in Baltimore than even he did in Tennessee. It's why Saquon Barkley looks different in Philadelphia than even he did in New York. We laughed at the Eagles last year, did we not? When they brought him in? I do not think that they should have kept Rico, and the NFL told us why. The NFL thinks that Rico is the same caliber player that Javonte Williams is, based on market value. And I don't disagree. Let's get real deep. Y'all ready for some more sports below the surface here? Let's do it. I'm having some fun now. Thank you again, Angie. Appreciate you. Make sure y'all share this stuff too, man. More people need to hear this. I'm telling you. Let's look. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Hold on. Computer messes up sometimes, but it's all good. We fail forward. Yeah, people love to forget about Rico's injury history too, don't they, Ty? They really do. It's not an indictment on anybody. I understand. I was a fan of Rico's game, but just being honest about the situation. Who is he? The league just told us. All right, there we go. Let's have some fun. When I use the word physicality, and I preach it over and over and over and over and over again, it is on behalf of Cowboys Nation, who's sick of watching it. It's not just a buzzword. And I'm sorry for yelling. I need to tone it back down. It's substantive. This right here is 3.2 yards per carry in each of the Cowboys' last 3 playoff losses in a nutshell. It's the reason why the playoff Dak narrative exists. It's why Mike McCarthy is no longer the current head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Why he probably also largely responsible for why he doesn't currently have a job in the National Football League. It's why I will not shut up. Why I repeatedly reinforce the idea of the Cowboys embracing the evolution of the NFL, becoming more physical, tougher, removing themselves from the country club narrative and becoming the bully as opposed to the one that's getting bullied. This right here. When he's facing just the so defense. Y'all know. All right, let me get this off the screen. Just so y'all know, we're now transition. This is a transition. The music, I thought that would do a better job of explaining it. Upon the rewatch, I guess I just got lost in the sauce, lost in the moment. I didn't realize that I didn't do a good job of prefacing sort of a pivot in the discussion, but it's all rooted in the same details. All right, this is Kevontae Turpin's first 7 carries of the season relative to his second 5 carries. The first 7 carries you'll see in red print there on the screen, 21 yards total at 3 yards per carry. Right? The second set, and this is consecutive, okay? The first 7 carries, I went back and charted it, versus the next 5 after that first 7. 9 yards per carry. 49 total yards. Because of a philosophical approach, a difference in philosophy. Right? And this is all, once again, like I said, the root is the evolution of the NFL. Personnel switches. Linebackers that can cover. Sideline to sideline. Rangy. Edges that can drop back into zone coverage. 5, sometimes 6 defensive backs on the field. The pendulum has swung back in favor of the defense as far as speed is concerned. So why? Hold on. I want y'all to see me when I say this. Why have I been so adamant, so emphatic about physicality? Why did I take all the bullets? I got this pointed at me with some LOL emojis behind it. I'm crazy because I don't necessarily, I'm not banging the table for a receiver at 12. Because I know what Schottenheimer knows. And what a lot of people who have really paid attention to the ultimate downfall, the shortcomings of this team in their most significant games in recent history, last half decade or so. Playing from behind was not an option. It's why Mike McCarthy elected to receive. When he won the toss in his final days in Dallas. Defense is caught up. The pendulum has swung. The NFL is evolving back into offenses are having to win now with physicality and run game and ball control. You can't out sideline to sideline defenses anymore. The line of delineation was 2014. The NFL explosive play number was at an all-time high. And ever since then, I've been doing this. You better be able to control A-gap. That's Tyler Smith, that's Cooper Beebe, that's Tyler Booker. You better be able to do it on the defensive side of the ball too. Otherwise, you have a similar problem. But I think the fact that there's not a ton of smoke right now about adding more depth to the one tech room, right now you're asking a lot from Ozzie Smith and Jay Toya. But we will see some additions if they get to camp and they don't feel like it's adequate. But I think that they have a lot of that this coaching staff likes Mozzie Smith. I'm pretty confident saying that. I'm pretty confident saying that this coaching staff likes Shea Toya too. Okay, back to the video here. I really want y'all to pay attention to this and then let me know what you think. If I need to elaborate more, I will. It's a much closer simulation to what he sees in the return game. He's not running. One more time. I want y'all to hear that. It's a much closer simulation of what he sees in the return game. Well, my screen just wants to stop loading up here. Does that even does that make sense when I say that as far as KaVontae Turpin is concerned? Why that worked, putting him in the backfield over and over again. The defense. All right, let me get this off the screen. It's a much closer simulation to what he sees in the return game. He's not running sideways when he's catching punts and kicks. No. He's facing this way, with his momentum going that direction. This discussion here plays directly into the Deuce Vaughn take. I know y'all hate Deuce Vaughn. The league, it's a constant, ever-evolving chess match, right? The defense is pivoting to keep up with the modern spread and tempo systems, aerial attacks, critical. Heavy emphasis on quarterback and passing game. Defenses had to counter that with smart. Y'all see that? 9.8 yards per carry when you simply line KaVontae Turpin up in the backfield. Deuce Vaughn is small. But he's much heavier than KaVontae Turpin is. Yeah, maybe KaVontae's straight line faster. Okay. But it's not KaVontae's 4.2 speed that's creating 9.8 yards per carry. That helps. But it's the vision. It's forcing the faster defenses that are built on combating air raid, spread, tempo, short, quick game. A defense built to stop those types of things, those gadget style things that used to work when offenses had to pivot from defenses who were built with 270 or 60-pound linebackers that were made to fill gaps and play downhill. Back in the early 2010s, when you are all of a sudden more of a speed player, a 225-pound hybridized linebacker, or when you have 5 and 6 defensive backs on the field, when you got edges, not unlike Micah Parsons used to be, 240, when you combo him and run directly at him, you neutralize his ultimate skill set. Because he doesn't get to use his ultimate superpower, lateral pursuit. He's forced to stack, shed, hold ground, and still trying to decipher where those shifty little running backs are going to be at. I ain't sitting here saying Deuce Vaughn's going to be RB1 or 2 or 3 or 4. I'm not saying he's going to make the roster. I'm just saying that what people write him off because of his size, if I'm sitting here showing y'all KaVontae Turpin 9.8 yards per carry, don't tell me Deuce Vaughn can't contribute in this league. Connor Riley knows what he's capable of. I'll tell you that much. Cooper Beebe does too. We'll see what happens. Everybody's going to get a fair shake. Javonte Williams ain't untouchable as far as getting cut is concerned. If he ain't it, he ain't it. $3 million, so what? Most veteran, most paid, most well-compensated veteran. He'll get the first shot, and he already is. Miles Sanders, as league minimum as he can get based on his service time in the National Football League. His job he ain't secure. They're back returning kicks in OTAs, him and Javonte Williams both. Once again, credit to John Machota for reporting that. because they know I got to fight for my job here. If I'm not the leading contributor, I got to find a way to earn a spot on teams. I got to get a paycheck. If Deuce Vaughn ain't it, he ain't it. Bill Maffa, you're a 7th round pick, bro. You ain't supposed to make the team. Jaden Blue, you don't figure out how to hold on to the football? Sorry, bro. I'm a Texas fan. He ain't exempt from getting cut just because we love Lightning. Creating competition. That's the motto. Compete every day. That's what it says on their shirt. That's what Brian Schottenheimer has said from the jump. Angie's question. Look at you, Angie. You know me too well. Getting me going on a 15-minute tangent with one running back question. We don't even know nothing about the running back position yet. But boy, it's a passionate discussion for me. Let me let this finish and I'm going to shut up. More able-bodied coverage men. More DBs on the field, oftentimes. Lighter, faster, more athletic linebackers. Edge players that can chase, track, sometimes drop into coverage. Critical. So the sideline-to-sideline stuff that used to work when you put a 4-2 athlete, get him the ball and coming around the edge, it used to be more effective than it is today. There's a line of delineation. Kyle Hamilton lit his butt up. Critical. Explosive plays in the National Football League were peaked all time in 2014. It's been a steady decline ever since. Why? Because defenses are catching up. That's why I've been so emphatic about the Cowboys changing their philosophy, their identity into a physical approach. Modern. Surely that speaks loudly enough. I could have gone on for forever, right? But this thumbnail here that you see at the top of the screen, offense with lineup projection, I think it was WWE guy that mentioned Brevin Spanford in here earlier, and this is a good segue directly into that discussion. All right, and it's less to do with I'm not overreacting. Okay, to one practice, one report of Brevin Spanford having a good day. He's going to need a lot more of those for what I'm even hinting at to even remotely be in play here. Okay. There is a reason why he was a priority free agent 2 years ago in 2024. $250,000 signing bonus. Doesn't sound like much relative to, all this money, this NFL money that we're seeing getting thrown around these days, but it's a hell of a lot to a guy like one particular Oregon receiver who didn't get anything guaranteed in free agency this year. Okay. $250,000. Not only is he much different physically than anybody else that you have on the roster, 6'7", 270. He plays like it too. He brings something to the table that no other tight end on this roster currently does. He's a pancake factory in the running game. He's a force, an extension of the offensive line. He can handle edges one-on-one. You don't ever want him doing that. You're not going to require that of him. But if he's comboed up with Tyler Guyton or Terrence Steele, you're moving people. He'll delete a linebacker. Slot corner, watch yourself. Because 6'7", 270 is coming. But it's less to do with Brevin Spanford as it is, okay, he's built not only differently than most tight ends, but definitely any other tight end on this roster. But beyond that, more important than that, he's built significantly different than the modern day NFL linebacker. The modern day NFL speed edge. The modern day NFL personnel grouping with 5 DBs out on the field, sometimes 6. Yes, when Brevin Spann-Ford's on the field, you say, Lando, well, they're going to be in 12 personnel. Teams are going to be in base, like a 3 linebacker package. Okay. How many 270-pound linebackers are there today? Not that they're not more powerful or that they can't win with leverage, but it's overall philosophy. Okay, we are going to win downhill now. It's a shift from Mike McCarthy's outdated West Coast philosophy of, hey, let's get as many short completions as we can and let's just check boxes as far as rushing attempts are concerned. That will win us the football game. No, it won't. The last time the Cowboys won 12 games, Dak Prescott took over the reins midway through the season because things weren't working. Because they couldn't effectively run the football. When you can't effectively run the football, you can't freaking dink and dunk your way down the field anymore. What is Dak elite at more so than any other quarterback the last 2 or 3 seasons in the NFL? Chunk plays on the sideline. 15 plus yards goes. Up the field. Verticals. Seams. Dak's a whole shot quarterback. He wants that. He wants to play that way. You can't whole shot your way out of a 7-high vision-based umbrella defense. 2 high safeties. Drop zone coverage. It's why Brian Schottenheimer gets on the phone when Tyler Booker is drafted. And the first gap scheme or power run scheme reference that's made on that phone call, you can go listen to it. It's on audio, War Room Audio. They don't talk about outside zone. It's, hey, can't wait to go gap scheme. Duo. D-U-O. That was the word that was used. Those 3 6'5", 335-pounders in the middle of the Cowboys offensive line. Sledgehammering that way, north and south. Brevin Spann-Ford gives you yet another dimension of that. It helps that he's also reasonably athletic and can actually go catch the football. It also helps that Dak Prescott is comfortable throwing those hole shots, those seam balls to those tight ends. See what the comments are talking about. It's probably about time to log off here. I mean, Jaden Blue, there's running backs that are built the way that he's built that have carried the load before. He's 200 pounds. He's sturdy. But I agree. He's not necessarily a guy that just his actual skill set, regardless of how he's built, what he likes to do is not something that he's not a dirty work player. He's just not. I'm not, I mean, the Nick Chubb thing, I'm not against it by any means. I just know we haven't seen anything yet from him or from the personnel that we currently have to say definitively, yes, this needs to happen. The organization isn't going to make that call. They can't make that call yet. Could they in the future once we get to OTAs and they're like, okay, we got to do something here. Sure. But now is not the time to make that decision. That's my whole thing. All this talk about Javonte Williams being now 2 years removed, 2 and change, from his injury. Nick Chubb had not just one knee injury that he's working back from. He's had 2 as well. Within the last, 3 years, right? Pretty sure that's correct. Let me check these. I'm pretty sure that's it. I mean, there's some things that I could touch on, but I don't know if I'm going to be like breaking any news. Like I'm trying to refrain from beating a dead horse here. I did think it was interesting. AJ Brown was very complimentary of George Pickens. He's been in that situation before. He knows what a change of scenery can do. He knows what adding a second alpha receiver alongside you can do as far as freeing a guy up. And I respected his outlook on it. It's like, look, yeah, that helps the Cowboys, but guess what? It's going to help us too, because when we play them, we know that they're bringing something. So we got to elevate our game as well to catch up, to keep up with that, right? So just a respectful approach. AJ Brown just continues to impress me with the things that he says. Some other things that we'll discuss later. But he's an impressive character, an impressive player. He's a true champion in every sense, on and not just on the field. Big fan of him. But I respected his honesty and I respected his outlook on what this move means, not just for the Cowboys, but he was finding the silver lining for the Eagles too. Like, all right, y'all want to talk about George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? We're going to show you something. Me and Smitty got something for you. All right, on the Eagles discussion, another noteworthy thing that we should touch on here is the Tush push not receiving enough votes, 22-10. They needed 24 to ban it. My thing is, so let me just say first off, I was relieved to hear that it's not banned. Okay, a few different reasons for that. Let me explain my case. Number one, I don't want the sport that I love so much to cover, to watch, to cheer for. It's just like over and over again. It's just we're removing football from football. No more onside kicks. No more kickoffs. If you can't tush push, you can't push or pull a guy. Good luck coaching that out of any offensive lineman. Right? We can't blindside block anymore. We can't hit a guy below the knees. We can't hit a guy above the shoulders. We can't. At some point, let's just put the leotards on and play 7-on-7. Right? Like, what are we doing here? Okay. I see crazier contact when my daughters are wrestling each other before bedtime with their diapers on. Like, let's let kids be kids. Let's let football players be football players. And I'm not saying I'm not advocating for CTE. Okay, I obviously understand there's the human element of sport here. Once again, sports psychology, sports below the surface. I'm as big, if not the biggest proponent of it as far as YouTube content production is concerned, because I've lived it. I've been in that arena before. As far as how important this is to ultimate team and individual success. So I'm all about protecting the players long term, right? Let's eliminate this part right here from the equation if we can. But just because one team is better at something else than any other team doesn't mean that it shouldn't be allowed. Figure out a way to stop it. Okay. The second thing is, and in my head, it's selfish, but I don't want any excuses when the Cowboys get that lick back next year. If and when. Okay. Jeffrey Lurie made a fantastic point. Eagles ownership. One of my best friends, Chris Wilson, we had a fantastic discussion this morning about this. He'll tell you he is to the Eagles what I am to the Cowboys as far as just us being fully invested all the time. Like a true, he knows his team. Okay. Jeffrey Lurie summed it up perfectly. There was a time in which the forward pass was thought of as not a football play. At some point, we got to man up, man. If you don't like it, figure out a way to do something about it or take advantage of it yourself and master it. But don't try to hide behind some fallacy, some fake excuse of, injuries, when there is no evidence whatsoever suggesting that there is any injuries involved with that play. It's not elevating the injury risk at all. No evidence to suggest that. So if you're going to try to get it banned, at least have the balls to show up and be outspoken about it and say, look, competitive advantage or competitive disadvantage. We can't do it as good as them. You know what? We gotta eliminate this. Here's another thing. If the Eagles were a 2-win football team last year, but they were 25 for 25 on tush pushes, and Jalen Hurts had 25 1-yard rushing touchdowns, would anybody care? No, so it's not even just that it's the tush push. It's that they're the best at it and they won the Super Bowl. That's why we care. That's why it's a topic. If the Eagles were the Titans, nobody cares. I rest my case. Any other questions that I'm missing? Looks like 343 people in here right now. So thank you guys so much for being in here and hanging out with me. This has been fun. It's been good to get some of this stuff off my chest. I know there's a lot more that I probably missed. So the best way for you to make sure that we answer those questions is to let me know in the comments and just like the video. It's the best and also cheapest way to support this platform and this channel. Making the push to 5,000. Help me get there, and we'll keep putting one foot forward. But another best breaking news here. We're 58 minutes in, and the camera is still over there thriving. So that's a win for me. And we'll definitely take that for what it is. All right. So let me see here. I think I'm excited about the next piece that I'll be putting out. I may have one more live in between now and then. So just stay tuned there. Oh, okay. I know what I forgot. This QR code, top right of your screen. Check it out for yourself. Discounted Waggle, the official partner of the Lando Show. Thank you to my friends over there. And remember that